Two, three, two, one. Hi, everybody. Welcome to No Conditions. This is Monica, and I am here with the very famous, very great Mr. John McDermott from the Orland Volunteer Fire Department, and my cousin, who I love and adore. How are we, buddy?
Excellent.
Excellent. So I wanted to get you on. There's a very big thing going on. Saturday, the fire department is going door to door. You guys have a big measure coming up November 3rd. So I wanted to get you on here so that we can kind of explain to people and maybe get some questions out of the way so that way people can understand why you're coming to their door, why you're going to be there, and what's going to be on the ballot on November 3rd. So take it away. It's all yours.
Thank you. Don't forget to get the hook ready in case I run a little long, because
No worries.
Anybody that knows me knows I'm a little long-winded. So here you go. We'll be coming to the doors of the citizens that live around Orland, California. The reason why is because there are actually two separate fire departments in lovely 810 5th Street right behind me. There's the Orland City Fire Department, which is within the city limits, and there's the Orland Fire Protection District, also known as Orland Rural Fire Department, and they are surrounding the city limits. So the firefighters, all 42 of us, hopefully, hopefully nobody calls in sick that day. We'll be showing up to the doors of the people that live in the fire protection district around the city limits. And what we'll be doing is educating the voters and the citizens in general about what we'll be asking for from them on November 3rd. And what we've come up with is Measure G, Rural Fire Protection Board, which consists of President Rob Silvera, Secretary Phil Putnam, Jack Buckey, Mike Schauger, and Ron Goings. He's our newest member. And we basically are coming to your door to ask for a parcel assessment, also known as a tax. Currently, in the rural district, we pay the citizens, the taxpayers, the property owners pay $20 per occupied dwelling and a nickel per acre. Roughly, you could just guesstimate roughly $21 for math purposes per parcel. I'm sorry, per property. With that being said, we're coming to the doors to educate people on Measure G, which is a parcel assessment. And the parcel assessment will be based solely on the parcel that is in the county books. So irregardless of how many livable dwellings, mobile homes are on a piece of property, we're going to charge $45 flat rate just for the parcel alone. With that being said, I want to clarify, because we are going to, with this Measure G, we're going to get rid of the $20 per occupied dwelling and a nickel per acre. That will go away forever.
That's gone. Yeah.
Back. And then the $45 will replace this. With the $45 parcel fee, it will also come with what's called a consumer price index. So as the economy improves, we won't have to keep coming back to the voters to say, hey, we need to raise a few more funds in 15 to 20 years. With the consumer price index, if the economy is good, the parcel assessment could go up 3% is the maximum that we capped it at. As of right now, with the consumer price index, if the economy is good, 3% a year. If it's not doing good at all, probably zero. With that being said, it changes year to year. But the biggest problem we're running into right now, and the reason why we're going to door to door, is the rural fire department is going broke. They do not have the revenues to provide us with the volunteer firefighters with the protective equipment. The fire engines are extremely expensive to purchase. They're very expensive to repair and to maintain. And we just don't have the finances to continue doing what we're doing right now.
And most people don't realize that it's a separate entity. I mean, you have the city, you have the rural, you also have the volunteers. I mean, it's kind of three departments mixed into one. And so basically what you're getting with this tax is you're getting the proper equipment that the firefighters need, the upkeep on the trucks. So that's what everyone's money is actually essentially going for.
Exactly. With that being said, I mean, the last time that we've even increased or came to the voters for an increase in an assessment was back in 1988. And since 1988 to 2018, roughly we've had 113% increase, percentage-wise increase in terms of inflation. I'm sorry about that. We've had 113% increase in inflation since 1988. And we haven't really asked the citizens to help out. What the fire board has been very, very good at, and that is being good fiscal servants to their constituents. The problem is things are becoming so expensive, even with strict financial constraints and, you know, saving every nickel we can and trying to get things done as efficiently as we can. It's just not keeping up. So with that being said, also too, we do have a paid fire chief that 50% of his salary is responsible from the city of Orland, and 50% is responsible from the Rural Fire Protection District. I have had people tell me, hey, John, I don't think we need a paid fire chief. And I can tell you right now, as a volunteer chief, the volunteer chiefs that have come before the current chief, which our current chief was a volunteer chief, it was so daunting. I'll mention his name, Bart Castor. He lost a significant amount of income because you can't do a regular job and manage the fire department.
Yep.
So the blessing that we got was we were able to get a paid chief. The paid chief handles a ton of paperwork, helps me write grants, helps me handle all the nickel and dime 9 to 5 stuff that I've got a regular job like the rest of us, and he can handle that. And it's been wonderful. So yeah, with that being said, part of Measure G's funds will help to pay for that, but the majority of that money still goes to putting equipment on your firefighters, maintaining your fire apparatus, those kind of things.
And another thing too is what people need to understand, and I'm sure that we can't hammer this home enough, is, you know, it's, other than the chief, it's strictly volunteer. You just said that you're 42 strong. How many fire calls a year do you guys get?
So previous to COVID, we were going to anywhere from 650 to 700 calls a year.
A year.
Which is astronomical for an all-volunteer department. Because of COVID, we're going to probably be down just a little below 600 this year. We do have a few more months to go in 2020.
Oh, yeah, knock on wood.
So, but that's kind of not a rest, but it's a nice little break. But also too, those 700 calls take a toll on equipment, personnel, and mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, there's no bill that or general fund or other budget item that covers mental health. But you know, it's when you spend more time at the fire department than your own home, it definitely takes a toll.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
Yes. But you know, and that's what I try and tell people. You know, this is kind of like an insurance policy.
Yes.
You know, the only time that people really care is when they need it. It's all the other times whenever they don't need it that they think, well, why am I going to pay for that? Why should I have to, why am I going to vote yes on that? Because at one time that you're going to need it, you would be willing to skin a cat in order to get somebody there within a moment's notice. And most of the time, I've listened to the scanner. Sometimes, you know, ETA is less than 3 minutes. I mean, that's incredible. So, and everybody, not all fire calls happen whenever you're at home, sitting in your chair, done for the day. I mean, most of these people are leaving their jobs, they're leaving their lives, they're leaving their homes, their newborns, their Christmas dinners, their Thanksgiving dinners. And quite frankly, I think that this is, you know, if we're going to spend money on one thing, this is what we need to spend it on, especially whenever this is the first time that you guys are actually going out and saying, hey, look, this is what we need to do. So more power to you, man. I hope so. So the pamphlet that you guys have, you guys are going to be giving a pamphlet out whenever you guys go door to door, so that way, and it does have a list of questions on there and answers. It's kind of like a Q&A.
Yes, it's a full page just on explaining what's going on and why we're doing it, and it goes into some excellent detail about Prop 13, other items and issues that have come up since Prop 13 in '79. What happened to us in '96? It'll explain about that, how the districts had to go to the voters to ask for permission to be able to assess them, and then on a separate piece of paper is commonly asked or frequently asked questions. We have that both in English and in Spanish, and we'll be dropping. every house that we see within the district. Now, with that being said, something that we did not put out earlier, and that is, I understand that there's a lot of parcels that don't have occupied dwellings on them. So there's a couple different places people can go to. The one place I can think off the top of my head is the Orland Volunteer Fire Department Facebook page, and you'll find information there to read. And then it's also posted on the Orland Fire Protection District's website.
And I'll also post a link here on the No Conditions page, and I'll also do it on Instagram. I'll post the picture of it with your permission, and I'll make sure that it gets out there. So yeah, so October 3rd, this Saturday, you guys are going to be going out, and then it will be sent out for November 3rd for the vote. But you guys are doing this basically because there's a lot of people that do mail-in ballots, so that way you guys can get it out and get it taken care of and answer any questions that people have. Is this now the trucks and everything else? When was the last time you guys kind of had a truck? When was the last time the rural board had a truck come in, or has it been a while?
2017 was the last rig that the rural board purchased. That was $500,000, and that was not a strip down model, but it also gave us some tools that we've never had before: pre-plumbed foam, more attack lines, which basically gives us more ability to put out fire. And then we added, we now have a 1,000-gallon tank compared to the 750 gallons. So we're way more effective. Plus we got a crew cab, so it puts 6 people safely inside the cab, and it was definitely needed. But with that being said, that same vehicle 3 years later is now just a little over $600,000 because of various conditions in the world, steel prices, etc.
And also too, with us being surrounded by the creek, creek, I should say. Everyone makes fun of me for saying that. Creek. But with everything going on, and especially the way things are happening now with the fires, I'm sure that it's definitely needed. So
I can tell you right now, it carries all the right equipment, and the best part about it is it makes us more efficient firefighters. That means less time to get set up to deploy the equipment to go to a fire, meaning your hoses get to your door quicker. We can put water on that fire faster, and we can do it more efficiently and safely.
That's what I think. I think that that's perfect. So everybody get ready October 3rd. That's pretty much, I think that will.
Monica, you want to talk about what happens if it fails?
Yes, I would.
I don't want to, but I want to. And I'm
Okay.
not doing this to doom and gloom people, and I'm not here to use scare tactics, but we have already approached the Board of Supervisors, and fire protection is not mandated in the state of California, only law enforcement. That's why you have a county sheriff. If Measure G fails, the current numbers that we have right now, the rural fire protection district would go insolvent within about 5, maybe 7 years. Some numbers, if we cut back significantly and the volunteers paid for certain pieces of equipment, could maybe last as long as 10, but that is doubtful. With that being said, so what happens when your fire department goes insolvent? It's happening across the United States, all over the place. We're not seeing it locally, but it's happening, almost happening every year here in Glynn County. That's a conversation for another day. With that being said, the options that we do have if it fails is to bill for service. So right now, a fire engine is billed out through the state of California for $120 an hour. That's probably one of the first things we would look at. So $45 for a parcel assessment. If that fire engine is at your house for an hour, it's 120 bucks. You're not paying for people, you're paying for the piece of equipment. You have 3 fire engines at your house, do the math. If you have a larger fire or larger incident, it can be expensive very, very quickly. The other option we also have too is there's a model down in Riverside County where the citizens are basically told, we don't have any type of financial support from taxes. So what we're going to do is basically have a membership. And the membership for the Orland Fire Protection District would be roughly $277 a year. That $277 a year would allow us to go to your house and provide services like we do now. If you didn't pay that, we wouldn't show up. And there's nothing mandated. So you have a fire at your house, we don't show up because nobody paid the assessment. It is scary. It is very uncomfortable in a town like Orland where we know everybody, we are you, you are us.
Yep.
And that stinks to high heaven. And I'd hope to God that doesn't happen. But then there's the other option too of CAL FIRE, which one fire, not even engine, they're just providing you bodies, is going to cost you $750,000 a year. So obviously you could do the math on that. And that's going to be, I mean, your assessment would be into the hundreds of dollars per parcel. So really, by the citizens going and voting for this and passing it, it's going to give us enough money and enough income to maintain what we have, provide for a little bit more money for the equipment, because that's going up. Biggest thing is that'll maintain the rural fire district's solvency over the next 20 years. We don't know what the future is for the fire department in terms of, will we have paid staff in 5 or 10 years? 5 years? I doubt it. 10 years? I doubt it. 20 years? I don't know. I have no clue. But I can tell you right now, you have 42 dedicated individuals who leave their families, who leave their dinners, who leave their parties, who leave their warm beds to help people who otherwise have never called 911 before. They're going to a stranger's home and holding their hand and giving them the comfort while we wait for an ambulance to show up, to provide the life-saving measures to, keep grandma or grandpa's heart going while we're waiting for the ambulance to get there. We are greatly blessed to have a very large supportive fire department. We're even more blessed to have a town that supports us. But that's why us as the volunteers are going out with the Rural Fire Protection Board to say, hey, we really need Measure G to pass because we don't know what will happen and we don't know what it'll look like if it doesn't.
And not only too, but people need to remember that all these years, the fire department has been providing a service, and you guys have been 100% dedicated to this town. My family, you're my family, my husband, my father, my grandfather. Most people don't know, especially new subscribers, have no idea how indebted or, embedded I am in some of this. I am the #1 fan. And, they don't realize that all these years, you kind of been taken, for granted that, oh, they'll always be there. They'll always be there. It's a structure. It's right behind you. It's going to be there forever. Well, you know what? It just like everything else, it takes money to keep those tires rolling, and you got to do what you got to do. And this is a one time to where now it's time that our local heroes, my loved ones, are asking you, the community, for help. And I think that it's returning the favor. We need to vote yes on this in order to keep this continued, to keep this fire department to continue going. And I really think that we're getting quite a deal. We're getting quite
Agreed.
a deal,
Agreed. With that being said, I did forget to tell people that I know we've also gotten questions about Measure A that was passed back in 2016,
Yes.
which was a half-cent sales tax in Orland. And that measure was a general fund measure that goes for public safety, for police, fire, and public works within the city limits of Orland. So even though that's been a huge blessing to the fire department, the volunteers, to fund the city side, we now need to get the support from Measure G and get that passed so we can have the financial stability on the rural side and continue this another 100 years. So to add more layers to the convoluted story between Monica and I, my great-grandfather, Harry Strawn, was the fire chief when the Rural Fire Protection District, Orland Fire Protection District, was formed in 1935. So what kind of irony is that his great-grandson's the assistant chief, and now we're going back out to go like, hey, we need to keep this thing going. So gotta love a small town.
Oh yeah, I was laughing the other day. We found the pamphlet for the 100th anniversary, or the magazine that was sent out, and my daughter Poot's picture was in there, and she looked at me because it was the picture of her in the fire boot and Randy's helmet, and she looked at me and she goes, I didn't know you put this out there in front of everybody. I said, babe, I said, whenever you get older, I said, you got to figure, I said, you're going to have the McDermott girls, you're going to have yourself, you're going to have all of us, you're going to have a little piece of us, to hopefully you guys continue. And she goes, well, I'm a girl. And I said, but babe, that means nothing. That absolutely means nothing. And she's like, I never thought about that. So now that's what we're dealing with.
Hey, our female firefighters are stronger and can
Mhm.
definitely run circles around me on the fire ground. So kudos to those ladies, because
Oh
when they
yeah.
have to drag my 270-pound behind off the fire grounds, I'm just going to feel sorry for them. So, but I'm glad they can. That's for sure. Again, those women can run circles around my behind. But
So now with the COVID, with everything that's going on, how was that with Fireman's Ball? We missed out on Fireman's Ball. You guys missed out on so much stuff. I mean,
as of
is
right
that
now, for like ladies night, which is our appreciation for the wives, or now
yeah.
spouses, that's going to probably be a really toned down event, social distancing, those kind of
Mhm.
things. Our awards night is pretty much been uh, we have not officially pulled the plug on it, but we haven't found an effective and safe way to socially distance. So I'm not too sure about the status of that. Obviously, you can, as long as we're in a purple county and in Glenn County and in Orland. I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. And spaghetti feed, there's one of the best options. I couldn't remember who said it. Said basically we probably won't have people sitting down for spaghetti feed, but we will have people that we can serve as a drive-through. So we'll definitely have spaghetti feed. And then that's going to be in February, first Saturday in February. And in the first 3 weekends in March, we'll still be coming door to door, probably thanking all of the citizens for voting yes on
Yes.
Measure D, and shaking those hands if we can. And again, asking for donations to support the Orland volunteers. It's the volunteers that pay for a lot of the medical equipment and the specialized tools that we use on medical aids, along with extrication equipment, jaws of life, those kind of things. So.
Well, hopefully it ends and everything gets back to normal. I don't think that it will, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
I'm
Definitely.
biding my time. It'll be good. I
I
can wait it out. I'm not dying anytime soon. I'm aware of.
hope. So we have October 3rd. We're going to go door to door. We have the ballot on November 3rd. Is there anything else that you want to add to it? Is there anything we pretty
Love
much?
the citizens of Orland. Love the fact that they support us. Love the fact that, obviously there's be a few naysayers here and there, and I respect those people's decisions. If
Yes.
they want to vote for a tax, that's what I defended the Constitution of the United States for when I was in the Army. They have that right, and bless their hearts. But for the rest of the citizens, we really would like their support. And again, I can tell you right now, we appreciate the community. We know the community appreciates us. It's a great team we have, and we're doing some really good things for the citizens. And all we ask is for a vote, and if you can do that, we'd appreciate it. Really, without the community, I've said it before, the fire department would be nothing. We are the community. We are you. We live next door to you. We're your neighbors, your friends, your family. But again, without the community, we would be nothing, and we definitely appreciate our community.
I always tell people whenever you hear the siren going off, you know what? You just count your blessings and know that you're having a better day than the person that's needing that siren. So, and it's not necessarily a vote for yourself, but it's a vote for your loved ones. So if anybody has
Sure.
any questions, you guys can send them to the Facebook page and hit it up. I want to thank Mr. John McDermott, First Assistant Chief of the Orland Volunteer Fire Department, and my cousin, the love of my life, for coming in and hanging out with me. I appreciate it, and we will definitely work on it. And like I said, everybody, October 3rd, they're going to be there door to door. They're going to come to you. You guys can ask any questions you want. You also have a pamphlet that'll have a question and answer on there for you to help answer any questions that you guys have. Like I said, let's do this. Let's do you guys proud. We have had it to where the fire department has been there this whole time for us. It's time for us to step up to it and help them out. It's time. Let's turn the tides. Let's get this done. October 3rd, and then vote on November 3rd. All right, everybody, I'd like to thank you. This is Monica with No Conditions. If you guys have any questions, you can email me at noconditions2020@gmail.com. You guys can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And yeah, if you guys haven't had a chance, like and subscribe, and head on over to the fire department page, Orland Volunteer Fire Department Facebook page, and give it a like. And yeah, so I want to thank you for coming in. I love you.
Love you guys.
We'll talk to you soon.